He was rejected, not once, repeatedly, a kid too small for the sport he loved, turned away by clubs that should have known better, and yet, the player who almost didn't make it became the player most people now call the greatest of all time. That's not an inspiring footnote, that's the entire story. The setback wasn't a detour, it was the mechanism. Here's how it actually works. Let's start with the basic shape of it. Lionel Messi was born in Rosario, Argentina, in 1987. He was good at football. Almost immediately, small, quick, glued to the ball like it owed him money. But there was a problem. A medical one. Around age 11, doctors diagnosed him with a growth hormone deficiency. In plain language, his body wasn't producing enough of the hormone that makes kids grow. Untreated, he likely stops growing well short of average height. Treatable, but expensive, very expensive, more than his family could afford on their own. His local club in Argentina couldn't cover it either, so his talent had a ceiling. And that ceiling had nothing to do with talent at all. It was a bill. Here's the part most retellings skip past too quickly, and it's the actual hinge of the whole story. Talent doesn't develop in a vacuum, it develops inside whatever system agrees to invest in it. No investment, no development, doesn't matter how good you are. That's the why. So the family did what desperate, sensible people do. They looked abroad. A relative in Catalonia opened a door. And in 2000, at 13 years old, Messi got a trial with Barcelona's youth academy, La Masia. The coaches watched him for a few minutes and didn't need much longer. He was different, everyone in the room knew it. But knowing it and signing it are two different problems, because Barcelona's board was hesitant. A foreign minor, ongoing medical costs, paperwork that takes months, sometimes years. Messi's family didn't have months, they had a flight home already booked, so a Barcelona sporting director, in a moment that's become football legend precisely because it actually happened, wrote the terms of agreement on a paper napkin. No formal contract, just intent, in ink, signed because there was nothing else to sign on. That napkin is now preserved behind glass, a piece of football history that started. As someone refusing to lose a kid over logistics, this is where the escalation begins. Because being signed wasn't being safe, Barcelona paid for his treatment. He grew, eventually, to about 170 centimeters. Not tall, never tall, but by then it didn't matter because the deficiency had given him something most taller players never develop, a low center of gravity, built early, by necessity, that made him almost impossible to dispossess. The disadvantage became the signature. He rose through the academy, debuted for Barcelona's first team as a teenager. By his early 20s he was reshaping how the sport thought about a single attacking player's value. Multiple Ballon d'Or awards, records that didn't just get broken, they got rewritten from scratch. Goals, assists, trophies, in volumes the sport hadn't organized vocabulary for yet. But here's the part that closes our opening loop. For most of his career, there was one thing missing, and people noticed, loudly. He hadn't won a World Cup, he'd lost a final, lost Copa America finals with Argentina, more than once. Close enough each time to make it worse rather than better. Critics built an entire argument around the gap. Brilliant, sure, but not a winner on the biggest stage, as if one trophy could retroactively cancel everything else. Then 2021 happened, Argentina won the Copa America, quietly, almost like exhaling, and in 2022, in Qatar, Messi did the thing the napkin signing kid from Rosario was never guaranteed to do. He led Argentina to a World Cup title, in a final widely regarded as one of the greatest ever played, going the full distance into extra time and penalties before it was settled. The rejected kid, the kid who needed a napkin instead of a contract, lifted the one trophy that the entire sport had decided defined greatness, whether you like tidy narratives or not. The one writes itself. Now, the nuance almost everyone misses, it wasn't really about the trophy, it was about removing the only argument left against him. Before 2022, critics had a single sentence to hide behind. After 2022, that sentence simply stopped existing. The trophy didn't make him better, it made the conversation honest. And the tie into today, every young player currently being scouted, rejected, or quietly diagnosed with some problem that looks career-ending right now, is living inside the same mechanism. Talent alone has never been the determining factor. Investment is, somebody deciding you're worth the cost before the results prove it. That's still how it works, in academies worldwide, right now, whether anyone names it out loud or not. So here's the whole shape of it, reassembled. A kid in Rosario had a genuine medical barrier to even playing the sport at a competitive level. A system rejected him on cost, another system, almost by accident, on a napkin, decided to absorb that cost instead. That decision produced not just a great player, but the conditions for one. Decades of dominance followed. and the one missing trophy people used to question him over was finally won in 2022, closing a story that had been open since he was 11 years old, from nothing, quite literally, a medical and financial nothing, to a case people now make for the greatest ever. Not despite the setback, because someone treated it as solvable. The game didn't change. You did, you're welcome. Subscribe if you like this, it really means a lot.